What's up, bro? Hey, man.
Our story begins in a well, at the bottom, from the perspective of somebody we don't know. We see our 5 characters overlooking the well, as if they had just thrown something in. We do not know what they had just thrown in, but what we do know is that it cannot be anything good. We don't know what this well is or what it even means, but its significance will become more important as the story goes on. Hello everyone, and welcome to my video that recaps and basically is just our overall review of REANIMAL. So, I just kind of wanted to get my general thoughts on the game out of the way first before I actually did a bit of analysis, because even though this may be uploaded a day or the same day of my video of me beating the game, I beat the game as of recording this around 2 days ago, and it's just not being uploaded because I haven't had time. Ever since then, I have allowed the game to marinate on me. I've watched a couple videos of analysis of it and theories around it, and not only have I formed my own theory around it, but I do feel like I actually agree with not only most of what the community has been discussing about this game and like what its ending represents and whatnot. But I also have a bit of a couple of theories on my own about what the ending really represents, and not only how it represents themes of punishment, but also forgiveness. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But like I said, I just wanted to get my thoughts about REANIMAL out of the way first before I went into any of that, because it's a lot of rambling. So I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum in this video. So, when discussing REANIMAL, at least from my perspective, it's important to look at it as a Tarsier game. And Tarsier are responsible for making 2 of my favorite games of all time, and my actual just favorite game of all time, Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is a really special franchise to me because it came to me during a time, I think I actually had picked it up during COVID, and that franchise not only really got me into games full of mystery and horror and whatnot, but it also got me back into single-player games, and I really just appreciate Little Nightmares for that. So with that being said, how does REANIMAL stack up to the previous works of Tarsier Studios? I won't be discussing Little Nightmares 3 all that much, even though I do think this game is miles better than Little Nightmares 3, because, well, Little Nightmares 3 isn't a Tarsier game. It's a super massive game. So, I won't be discussing it a whole lot. I might mention it here and there, but for the most part, whenever I talk about past games, I'll be talking about Little Nightmares 1 and 2. So, like I said, how does this game stack up to those? Well, I think it overperforms in regards to Little Nightmares 1 and 2 in most areas. This is Tarsier not pulling any punches anymore. They don't have to. They're not worried about making a game that... They're not worried about having to tell a horror game while also having to pull their punches. They are fully unshackled here. This isn't rated T for teen anymore. It's rated M. And they're using that. They're taking full advantage of that. And that may not show through some parts of the game, but especially toward the end of the game, you see a bunch of just crazy fucking themes being on display. But back to just the general consensus. I think what REANIMAL objectively improves over Little Nightmares is gameplay. I think REANIMAL just completely blows the Little Nightmares games out of the water when it comes to gameplay. In fact, I would go as far to say that the gameplay is fun. That the gameplay is actually a really standout feature of this game. I didn't think we'd be driving fucking trucks or controlling tanks or anything like that for that matter. I didn't think we'd be doing that. But we are. I didn't think the combat would be as gritty as it is. But it is. And even though it was rated M, I did not expect the gore to be on the level that it is. Like I said, this is Tarsier not pulling their punches, and they do not hold back at all. This is a horrific game, and there's a good reason for that. So that is sort of the gameplay. There isn't a whole lot yet again to say about it, but just objectively speaking, it's better than what we got in Little Nightmares 1 and 2. And going forward into the video, I just want to talk about REANIMAL, about its own game. I don't really want to, kind of want to stop with Little Nightmares comparisons, because, well, that's just not fair to REANIMAL. So, but yeah, that's like about the gameplay. It's very similar to Little Nightmares. It's hard not to compare it, but it definitely is an objective improvement. Environments. The environments of this game are really, really solid. That is until you get to the end. The environments in this game go from solid to insane. Like, I can definitely tell, even though the quality of this game is pretty consistent throughout most of the fucking chapters, you can definitely tell they were putting all their effort on that last chapter. That last chapter is insane. And yet again, we'll get to that. But just in the environments, the characters, it all comes together and just culminates in this one big hellish landscape that Tarsier is able to just really just master. Like, I honestly, like, I'm so excited to see what they do next. I do know that this game is getting DLC, and I will be playing. I think the first chapter of the DLC comes out in the summer. Actually, they have dates for it. It's the first date for the DLC. It's 3 chapters. So the DLC chapter 1, is coming out in summer of this year. The next one I think is coming out in the fall, and the next one, and the final one, the third one, is coming out in early 2027. So there is that. Little Nightmares 3 DLC will come out actually like in a month or so. So I'll be playing that, and the other Little Nightmares 3 DLC will come out in December, so we're playing that too. But yeah, like, I just going back, I just am so happy to see Tarsier doing this. Like, they are just so good at just making these insanely just impossible levels work. They did it with Little Nightmares 1, and they did it with Little Nightmares 2, and they did it again with REANIMAL. Granted, some parts are definitely better than others, but just I don't, like, as I'm playing this game, I only wonder just, how does someone think about that? How does someone think about creating a level, a world this harsh, this terrible? It's just, and put it into a game. It's like a novel that was just 1-to-1 adapted into a game. It's insane. It's truly insane, and the minds at Tarsier are some of the best minds in the industry, and they have become definitely my favorite studio out there right now. They are so good at what they do, and I am so fucking pumped to see what they do in the future, because I know it's going to be really good. And also, I've just seen like big influencers playing REANIMAL. I know I saw that a bit with Little Nightmares 3, but with REANIMAL, I do feel like Tarsier has reached a much broader audience and a much just than they ever have before, and that fills me with a lot of optimism that people are finally seeing just how good Tarsier really is at making these type of games. Granted, it is a very specific type of genre, and it's not for everybody, obviously, but just I really just love that Tarsier is starting to reach a broader audience, because it's just like, they deserve it. They have made magical experience after magical experience. They've done it time after time again, and I'm so excited to see what they do next beyond the DLC of this game. What else is there? Enemies. Enemies are a big thing to look at when looking at these things. You've got the Sniffer. You've got fucking You've got the mother, which is like the mole fucker. You've got the pelican, which is the big bird, and then you've got the soldiers and the giant sheep. Now, I won't lie, some of those characters, they don't feel necessarily random. They just feel like more like footnotes. Like they just feel like maybe I'm just used to these type of games at this point, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because they kind of, even though they're all great in their own way, I just feel like they pale in comparison to the lamb at the end of the game. Like that enemy is just crazy because and the lamb actually has a connection to the kids too. So that's also it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to wrap up this section soon because this is just my general thoughts of the game. This is just my general thoughts right now. I do have some complaints. Like there are two that come to mind when thinking about this game. One is the price tag. As much as I loved this game, and as much as I loved this experience, and as much as I love to commend Tarsier for what they did here, I do think $40 is a little high. I think this game would be much better priced at $25 to $30. I mean, Silksong kind of just set the bar for how you gotta price games. I mean, Silksong literally could have priced their shit at $60, and I would have understood it completely. But they priced it at $20, and they're making a DLC that's completely free. So it's like, come on now. I mean, I get Tarsier is also like works under like a bigger studio, so that might have something to do with it. But I don't know. I just think this game definitely should not have been $40, especially considering that the game feels a little short. I won't lie. This game does feel pretty short, which is another complaint. But that also comes down to the price tag. If I think the biggest thing that makes the price tag a little unjustifiable is just the length. This game feels much shorter than the other Little Nightmares games, and I don't know if that's just me breezing through it, or if that's just the fact that, it is shorter. I don't know, but because like I went and looked, Reanimal took a total of 5 episodes to beat, and Little Nightmares 3 took 7 episodes to beat, and Little Nightmares 2 took around 8 or 7 as well. I don't know. It's around that number. Reanimal didn't take that long. It definitely felt shorter, even if it wasn't. And that might be just because I was breezing through the game, and maybe because the videos were edited this time around, so I cut a bit of footage out. But I don't know. It does feel a little short, but that may sound like a big issue, but it's honestly like a minor complaint because I don't know if the game necessarily, for what it does, I don't know if the game needs to be longer. But at the same time, I can't justify a $4 price tag for a game that's just not that long. I love it. It's incredible. It's an experience that will sit with me for a really long time. But, hey, I think it should be cheaper. That's all. The final little thing I want to say, though, before I move on into analyzing the game, is the characters of Reanimal are a little. They aren't bad. I love them. They're incredible. In fact, I named all of them. But I do think compared to the Little Nightmares characters, they're a little iffy. And I think it's just because the Little Nightmares characters have a personality about them that I just love. Like Mono, this is my goat. I love Six. I love Low and Alone. Like, the kids here are awesome. I don't get that wrong, but I don't know. I think more so like the kids are more so like you want there to be seen as like a group who did something bad, which I'll get into later, and not just like an individual person. Or like with Mono and with Six, they're seen as more so like just individual characters, and Low and Alone also who are like create a bond with one another as the story goes on, where it's like with the Reanimal characters, yes, they do have a bond, but that's already been established, and you're seeing them like sort of being punished for something they did a very long time ago, and that's also like something I'll get into later. But I'll just say this: if there's anything the Little Nightmares games, yes, even Little Nightmares 3 does better than Reanimal, in my opinion. It's just I like the characters from those games more, but don't get it twisted. I love the Reanimal characters. They're incredible in their own regard. I just prefer Little Nightmares characters. Now, let me just I don't think I have anything else to really cover in terms of just general stuff regarding REANIMAL. It's good. It's a really fucking good game. And now I'm gonna get into an analysis and maybe wrap up. This scene is a very important one in the story of REANIMAL, because even though it's not the only type of scene that happens, I chose it because Otto, I believe, or Bonbon, I can't remember, says something very important along the lines of, "Do you know why we're here?" And the other responds with, "No idea." Now, in the cut audio of the game, because there have been some voice lines that were cut, one of them says punishment. Punishment for what exactly? Look at the screen. Look at what's happening. Remember the well. Remember them looking down on it. And look at how they've reacted when Bun Bun starts to freak out. The kids are afraid of punishment because it is revealed eventually, later in the game, that the kids betrayed Bon Bon and offered her as a sacrifice to what is believed to be a cult. And I know you're probably asking, well, if that's happening, if that happens, if she's supposed to be dead, then how the hell is she here? The reasoning for that is actually pretty simple. Everyone in this game is already dead. Everyone is dead, and this is hell. I mean, after all, the literal description of the game on the PS5 is "go through hell together," and I think Tarsier uses that word very strictly, because this is literally hell. All 5 characters are in hell of some kind because of their actions. And Bun Bun is here to basically haunt and torment them for what they had done to her in their past life. Now, I do not think the story is as cut and dry and bleak as it may seem. I will get into why later. But I think there's more. But for now, just focus on the world around them and what is happening to them. Yet again, we know that the 5 characters are all dead. Well, Bun Bun's dead because that was shown to us. But we also know that the other 4 died after sacrificing Bun Bun. We know that because throughout the game, you can actually find coffins that belong to every single one of the characters, even Bun Bun. And you can see them dying in their own way. And it's heavily implied that it happened after the sacrifice and after the ritual, and the characters had done it for reasons that we don't really know about. Now, this is where it gets a little speculative. It's heavily theorized that the reason Bun Bun was sacrificed and betrayed by the kids is because the kids were forced to do it. They had done it out of desperation in order to save themselves from something. Maybe it was the military that forced them to do it. Maybe it was a cult that forced them to do it. We don't necessarily know why they did it. All we know is that they did. And I do believe that despite that, I do think the 4 characters regret doing that to her, because I don't think they wanted to. Because yet again, it's heavily implied that they did consider Bun Bun as a close friend to them, and they had bonded with her through their time together, and it was seen as an act of betrayal. And despite that, they're here in a literal hellscape being haunted by her. And as you see in the final chapter, everyone is going through this war-torn hell. The world is completely flooded. Soldiers are killing themselves. The whole island has just been annihilated and scorched to just something that is completely unrecognizable. And now you have this giant creature following around that is kind of what was assumed the reason Bun Bun was sacrificed in order to create, that is now killing them one by one. And to me, that just represents them being punished for what they had done in their previous life. Now, I did mention how the story definitely may not be as bleak as bleak as it may turn out to be. Even though we know that, like, we know bad things happen for the most part. Like, for the most part, the story is a complete, like, hellscape. I mean, look at what's happening on screen. Like, the soldiers they're just killing themselves. It's just crazy. But I mean, at the end, if you this has to do with the secret ending. If you get the secret ending to Reanimal, there is a scene that plays right before the final scene, and it shows Bun Bun's dead body at the bottom of the well, and it shows 4 other what seem to be ghosts floating around her as if they're mourning. Now, I can't show this because I don't have footage of it, unfortunately, but I will link a video to it in the description where you can watch it if you haven't seen it already. And basically what I got from that scene was that despite what the others had gone through together, they still considered Bun Bun a friend, and they definitely did not want to do that to her. It was more so something that they were pushed to do out of desperation, and they did it to try and save themselves, which they couldn't even do in the end. Well, because, like, dude, you gotta remember, these are kids. These aren't teens. These aren't adults. These are literal children who are being thrusted into this just horrible fucking situation. And yet, despite that, they still consider each other as friends. And that is why I think Reanimal's story is not only about not only about punishment, but also forgiveness. Because I think the secret ending conveys a lot. And I think it definitely shows that even after they betrayed her, and even after they sacrificed her, they regretted it. It wasn't something they wanted to do. They were pushed to do it, whether by the military or by a cult. And who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe they did it out of just pure spite. I don't know. One thing I like to think about, though, when talking about this, is the imagery of the rabbits. Now, if you remember, during the not just during the movie theater scene with the sniffer, but also just like throughout the game, you sort of see this little image of like rabbits like running in a circle, and I like to think that that represents the 5 characters. They're considered to be a part of the same pack, and the final scene of them looking over her dead body is seen as just they have lost one of their own, and they're grieving because of it. I don't know, but I think, and part of the reason why I think just this entire thing is because of the name of the trophy for the secret ending is called Friends Reunited, or something like that, which to me that implies that everything is done. All the the 2 characters have moved on, or the 5 characters have moved on to what happened. Bun Bun has forgiven them, and they're able to move on to the next life, despite going through whatever the hell this one offered them. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely just spitballing here, but that's how I like to view the Reanimal ending, as a group of kids who go through torture, hell, punishment, and yet despite that, they remember who they were before everything went wrong. And I like to think that that isn't really like the only time that we see something like that in Reanimal, because the scene at the beginning of the soldier playing the piano is one of the most powerful scenes in recent memory. You know, you have this guy, in fact, someone made a really good fucking video on it, I forgot what the guy's name was, but basically it's just a soldier who is reconnecting with his humanity in his final moments of life. He's not choosing to be a monster, he's choosing to be someone who he chooses to be who he was before he became a soldier. And that's another thing that Reanimal has going for it, is it's very, very anti-war. It is very anti-war, and it comes at a very interesting time in world history because if you've been paying attention to the news, there is war going on right now in our world, and it's going on everywhere, and it's terrible. And this is one of the best interpretations of war I have ever seen. It doesn't hold back. It shows like how it affects the psyche of the people who are just caught within it and those actually doing it. And it's so well done. It's so well done. And I yet again, that's just an example of Tarsier just absolutely not holding back when conveying their stories, and I just think it culminates in a really, really tragic but also very, very powerful story and a very, very powerful message about how war just absolutely benefits literally not a single person, and it's just mindless savagery and fighting. Yeah, I like to consider that. So let me just try, and I'm not going to go on for any longer than I need to be. I'm just going to wrap up my my little section here and then wrap up. So, REANIMAL is a story about punishment. It's a story about 5 kids who were thrusted into a horrible situation, likely due to war, and 4 of them felt desperate and were forced to sacrifice one of their own to try and ensure their own survival. Even though they did that, they still couldn't. They met their end. Otto was hung, Gnome was shot, Jack was beaten to death, and Barney was thrown off a cliff. It's cruel. It's horrible. And nobody wins. And yet despite that, they go through hell together, and seemingly, they find it in their hearts to remember who they were before everything went wrong. And they're able to move on to the next life with that in mind. That's the story of REANIMAL, or at least how I view it. I could be wrong, but given what we've seen, and I would encourage you to watch some theories about it. I would encourage you to watch some others, because people are really, really, really putting their thinking caps on when it comes to this game. So, yeah. So that is the story of REANIMAL, and that's how I view it. So let's wrap things up. REANIMAL is sort of, I don't want to say a masterpiece of Tarsier, but it's them just further proving why they're the best at this type of stuff. The gameplay is gritty and brutal. The enemies are terrifying to look at. The environments are unwelcoming. The music is so suiting for this, and the story is gut-wrenching but also mysterious, and it leaves you wondering just why us? Why are we in this situation? What did we do to deserve this? And they give you little hints, but they don't tell you the full story. And I think for other companies that are making games like this game is the standard. This and Little Nightmares 2, I think, are the standard for how you make horror puzzle platformer games. I have fallen in love with this genre because of Little Nightmares, and I am even more in love with this genre because of REANIMAL. It is so good, and I am so excited to see how this game will age for me, because I love it. I love it already, and honestly, I would put it above Little Nightmares 3, definitely, by far. I think I'd put it above Little Nightmares 1. I don't know if I put it above Little Nightmares 2, but I would say the two are very, very close together. I'm going to let time decide that one, though, because Little Nightmares 2 is a very special place in my heart. That being said, though, REANIMAL's story, its environments, its gameplay, its characters, everything, it just shows that Tarsier, they just know. They just know how to do this, bro. It's why they've become my favorite company, because they take such a niche genre, something that sounds really hard to do, and they do it. And they're not a big company, too. They're like a team of, 60 people? That's not a lot. AAA studios have, hundreds, if not thousands, of people working on stuff. This is 60 people. $60, and they made this. Like, bro, indie games, man, have been fucking have really just blown me away recently. Like, Hollow Knight Silksong was incredible. I saw what Expedition 33 did with like a pretty small team of people. And now Tarsier Studios, well, they're not quite indie. They're still a really small studio. And Expedition 33 isn't really an indie as well, but it's also like a really small studio. Like they're far from AAA. So, yeah. But games like this just remind me that stuff like this, not just games in general, but just art in general, is best when it's just being guided by people who have a vision and have an idea and they want to make something out of it. Not something they're just making for money, not something with profits in mind, just something that people went together and they said, hey, I think this would be really cool if we made a story about this, and they did it. And they fucking did it, and they went above and beyond, and it's man, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's truly an incredible experience, and I could not recommend this game enough. Even if you're like on the fence about it, maybe wait for it to go on sale and then get it. But even then, I was fine with getting it at $40, even though I don't think it should be that high of a price. For me, it was $40 well worth spending. But yeah, like, I would recommend it purely just off the experience alone. Just purely off of the experience alone, it is such a great experience, and I could not recommend it enough. Yeah, so that will pretty much do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my little tirade about me ranting. You know, when I do these videos, I don't really make a script for them. I just kind of like let my thoughts go. So I repeat myself a bunch and I say things that sound downright nonsensical at times. But believe me, I'm trying to make something. I just don't have. I just don't make scripts. Maybe I should one day. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should have made a script for this video. I don't know. It's whatever. I got stuff to do. I can't. This isn't my life. I can't. I can't do this. All right. But yeah. That was REANIMAL. This will probably be my last video on it in a very long time. The DLC, there is DLC, which I will 100% be getting undisputably. It drops in the summer, then it drops in fall, and then it drops early next year. So I am fucking pumped to see what Tarsier has in store for that. And you best believe that I am pumped to see what they have going into the future, because they have shown yet again they just know how to make these type of games. It's not an indictment on anybody else. Tarsier has just been doing it the longest, and they've been doing it the best for such a long time. And I'm so proud of them. I'm so happy for them. And I really think this game could win some awards, but even if it doesn't, it's won some awards in my fucking heart, because it's perfect. It's, well, not perfect, but it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, that was REANIMAL. I'm gonna play the DLC. As for future plans, I'm gonna do Little Nightmares 3 DLC. Even though Little Nightmares 3 was not on the level of this game at all, I still enjoyed it. So I'm gonna get the DLC for Little Nightmares 3 and go back and do it. And I'm also going to get the DLC for REANIMAL and play that. As for what my next playthrough will be, I don't know, because honestly, it might not. Honestly, I don't know if I'll do another playthrough for a very long time, because the only playthroughs I really do are of these type of games, because they're the games I'm most like passionate about. So there's a good chance that I might not do another playthrough for. I mean, this is excluding the DLC for Little Nightmares 3 and REANIMAL. This is excluding that. Honestly, I might shift more toward content that's like what I did for Silksong, where it's like as I'm playing through the game and progressing through, I do clips. And there actually is a montage for Silksong that I've been working on for like months, mainly just because I haven't gotten like around to finishing it. It's just about like, it's about Act 3 and like the best stuff of that part of the game, which I'm hoping to drop, but I have been putting it off for such a long time. So yeah, I hope I get around to doing that. But for the most part, I really don't know what my next playthrough will be, whether it's a Little Nightmares game, if Little Nightmares 4 ever comes out, or if it's another Tarsier game. But those are like really the only two things I would do a playthrough on right now, because well, it's like they're the easiest ones to do, and they're also like just the games that I care the most about. That could change, but that's just what I'm looking at right now. But whatever happens, this is not the last you've seen of me. I will be around to play games like this until either the fucking world ends or the day I die. So, yeah. I love these games. I love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around on this playthrough of mine, and thank you so much for just whoever stuck around just listening to me. Thank you if you've made it this far, which I doubt, but hey, who knows? So yeah, that's it for Reanimal. My final rating of the game is a 9.4 out of 10. Fuck it, 9.4. That's where we're putting it because it is just that fucking good. Maybe there's a bit of recency bias in there, but I kind of don't give a fuck. So, yeah, that was Reanimal. I love you guys. I will see you guys when I see you guys next. Please take care of yourselves out there, especially in trying times like this. And as always, goodbye, guys. I'll see you on the next one.